Hello everyone, welcome to another entry in the Hand That Feeds HQ's review Advent Calendar 2021. Today I'm going to review Shotaro Morikubo's Truth, song suggested by Ginger Lady Heart. Let's get on with it because I really love this song. Something that I love in Shotaro Morikubo's songs is how hard he goes on the guitar. He wants it to impress you, he wants it to sound loud, it wants to be aggressive, gritty. He goes really hard on the guitar, and this song is massive, as you can hear as soon as I press play. Let's go. That choir is used as an accent to the song. So you have, pardon me, headbanging. You have the heavy, low-toned guitar riffs. You have the bassy drums. You have the punchy bass line that is low as hell. And then you have the choir on top going high. It makes a song sound epic right from the start. It doesn't need to necessarily have an orchestra or a chamber music addition there to actually sound that big or massive. And then another thing that I like about the way Shotaro Morikubo actually composes his songs or actually comes up with the sound that he wants to add to the songs is how much of an influence he has from the 90s and the early noughties in his music. I see a lot of influences of rock from the 90s and the noughties in there. It goes really hard. You have a lot of Soundgarden in there. You have a bit of Alice in Chains in there. You even have influences of Linkin Park in there if you pay closer attention. He actually loves that type of music. You can tell from the way the song is flows and how the sound actually is. There's a lot of influences there, and I really enjoy that. How hard and how aggressive it goes is something that, man, I wish more Seiyu artists would actually embrace this style of music because I really do love rock. Really. And like these, there are very few, even 2D music projects that actually embrace a more aggressive style of rock music. You have, for example, The Last Metal, a recently launched 2D music project that is all about metal and has a lot of symphonic and speed metal in there. You have a bit of rock in Dig Rock, but it's not necessarily as aggressive as this one. You have rock in Dear Vocalist. Dear Vocalist is a really a mixed bag of music genres, more than just a rock music project. And you've never heard a song as aggressive as this one in their repertoire, at least so far. And then you had Bandia Rose that had really aggressive songs, but only for Osiris. And then you had Fly Me Project with Medicode and Drink Me. Only Medicode came a bit closer to this sound, and still it wasn't this specific rock sound. It's really characteristical, and I really can't pinpoint the specific band or time from which this song takes a massive chunk of its inspiration. Besides that, I listen to a lot of 90s rock bands and early noughties rock bands that have this same sound. It's dark, really gritty, and this bass line is massive. Listen to it. Let's go. It's going to go heavy on the guitar. Let's go. Let's go. Really, if I didn't have my headphones on, I would be headbanging 2 days. Whew. This song is really, really good. And how hard he goes in this song is really something impressive. I like this about him, I like this about his music. I also know that it's because of this that his music is not that popular because it is extremely aggressive. I like this kind of aggression in rock music. It's not necessarily aggressive in the lyrics, it's really just the sound that is impactful and the sound that is menacing in a way. That menacing vibe is really contrasted with that, of course, those choir parts. Once again, the choir is used as a contrast or as an accent in the song. It's not necessarily to be a main feature, it's not necessarily to be the place where you need to focus on during the song, but it adds a sense of scale to the song that I really like. Then, how low we can go with this instrumental. The bass is really low, the drums are low as hell, the guitars are really. I really don't know if it is in drop D, but the tuning is really low for this guitar. It's awesome, but the tuning is really low in this guitar. It's almost sounding like a bass in the higher notes, so it's really good. It's a chunky, really raw, aggressive, full guitar sound that I love. It's not really extremely technical. It's more the impression that it gives you that makes it sound really impressive. Still, it is impressive in my books because I really like the way Shotaro actually plays the guitar, or even how the guitar parts are recorded for him, in case he doesn't play that part. The chorus is made to headbang. It's made for a mosh pit. It's really the type of music that I absolutely love. Man, I could listen to this song time and time again and never get sick of it because I really do love the way it flows and how awesome it sounds. That drum fill had a bit of drum and bass in there. It was subtle, but it had drum and bass in there. I really find it interesting that Morikubo actually adds a little bit of electronica to his songs, not necessarily making the electronica the main part within his music, but he adds electronica as accents, as you could listen in that drum and bass feel. That wasn't. It was played on live drums, but it's a really natural drum and bass transition or feel that you would add to a song, not necessarily to rock music, but really to drum and bass, which is EDM music. The bass line is really full. Let's go. Those guitar riffs are really, really, really dirty and low. And you have another thing going on in the song, this time on the vocal end, that is, of course, you have those whispered parts that are edited to add some, I would say, a sense that you are being watched, for example, to the song. But then you have the rap parts that are really a constant in Morikubo's music. In case you haven't noticed, is the artist that has been most consistently, really, since the very start of his solo career, incorporating or embracing rap rock in his music. He does so very, very often. He's a good rapper. He has a good foundation, at least. I wouldn't say his flow is on the level or on the same level as some say you that are performing in rap or hip hop projects, but he does have a really, really good flow for the work that he is doing. It doesn't need to put a massive effort because rap rock wasn't known for the performers for having a really nice or really fancy flow. It was for being really consistent in, and that's something that Morikubo really has as a performer. He's extremely consistent, and when he goes to this part, he's almost rapping, half talking. It works really well. It's a good way to actually put the spotlight in his voice because he's now performing in a different way from the other parts within this song. And the guitar solo. Whoa. Let's go. Ooh, that bassline. The bassline is even more intense in this part of the song now that we are reaching the end, which is, I already enjoyed the bassline up until now, but now you've reached the point in which it's really grungy, it's really, really raw. You can feel that it is intense and violent at the same time. And it actually, of course, it matches, more than matches the instrumental, the rest of the instrumental. I would say that the bass line is the driving force in this song, not the guitar, although the guitar may sound like it. But the constant instrument in all of these parts is the bass line, and the bass line is massive. Shotaro Morikubo really goes for a really interesting way to perform. As you may know, he is often mocked dearly, but he is mocked for his vocal quirks. But those work pretty well for him and have worked pretty well for him in whichever project he's been a part of. In this case, when he performs as a solo artist, he goes for a smoother approach to his vocal quirks. And he actually, although he has a bit of raspiness in his voice, he does add a lot of... He goes for those smooth notes within a song that you would firstly expect him to go really hard and really raw. But he actually is going really smooth. Even when he is actually raising his voice a bit in the chorus to match the intensity of the guitars, he's actually pretty smooth in the way he's doing that. It's a really interesting detail, and you may get the impression, especially if you are paying attention to the guitars, that he's actually pretty loud and pretty aggressive, and actually is being really smooth in the way he is actually embracing that aggressiveness. It goes to show how talented he is, it goes to show how comfortable he is with his singing, and it goes to show how many layers there is to this song, because on the first listen it may sound really aggressive, but when you take a closer look you notice that the song actually is menacing, but to warn you of something. It's not necessarily because the person that is telling you the story is aggressive towards you, it's because they want to pass that idea that something is dangerous or something is not clear, it's in a gray zone and you really don't know what to expect there. So there's that sense of danger and aggression in the instrumental, not so much in the vocals, and that contrast is really, really nice to find. No bass line on that part, notice. And now. This song is so good. Let's go. That splash going on to signal the end of the song. Yeah, that's pretty much that, and it's a textbook hard rock song, and I absolutely love it. It's been a while since I last heard Truth by Shotaro Morikubo, but it's always a treat to listen to him. It's a pity though that not many people actually pay attention to his music, and not many people actually appreciate how good of a rock frontman he is. And even as a musician or even a lyricist, he is really, really good. But not many people pay attention to him, and it's a pity because he's been consistently releasing music since the early noughties as a rock artist, and he's made himself being extremely consistent since then. His sound hasn't changed much, but has, of course, evolved. And now that he's completely honed, of course, Truth is a song that dates back a couple of years ago. It's 2016. Of course, the song has a couple of years on top, but still it sounds as fresh as a song that would be released today. And that's something that I really like. Consistency is one of the points in which artists can be or can make a trend or a trademark for them. If you know that Shotaro Morikubo is basically synonymous to rock music, he's the epitome among male seiyuu of a rock star. That's a period there, because he actually is, because of his consistency in the music genre that he performs, in the way that he performs, and what people can expect of his music. He's actually created what is a trademark for him. And as a solo artist, it's really good to have a trademark sound. It makes you noticeable, it makes you easily categorizable, so you know that rock music is Shotaro Morikubo. You don't have to say, well, but he performs a wide variety of music genres, so which is the music genre? We don't know. So it's really good that he has that consistency. Then you have his singing tone is really rock solid as a singer. It doesn't make mistakes, he sounds clean at all times. When the songs are aggressive, he's not necessarily performing in an aggressive way, he's actually doing a really smooth performance. But the instrumental will give you the wrong idea, especially if you are paying close attention to the guitars, which are always aggressive. There's a couple of exceptions, but guitars in Shotaro Morikubo's music are always aggressive. And that's a massive plus, especially if you enjoy rock music and like it to really hit hard, those guitars to really go low and really dark. He has that plenty, and Truth is really the epitome of all that. At least for me, it's really one of my favorite songs of his, right behind Mirror. If you are a rock fan or a fan of Shotaro Morikubo, this is a song that you must listen to. At least check once in your life, because the song is really, really good. The composition is fantastic, the transitions are awesome and seamless. The vocal progression is really what you could expect. It is textbook, but it really, really works really well. And the overall feel of the song is of danger, but you have a gentle side to it. That's a really interesting detail. So this is my analysis of Shotaro Morikubo's Truth. Thank you.